All right, let's talk about go-to-market. We spend so much time obsessing over the launch itself, the press, the tweets, getting every little detail right. But what if the single most expensive mistake you can make has almost nothing to do with how you launch?
Because here's the thing, the most costly go-to-market blunder isn't a sloppy launch. I mean, you can bounce back from a clumsy announcement or a few day one bugs. It happens. No, the real killer is launching at the wrong time. This is the decision that creates this invisible damage that just compounds and compounds for months, sometimes even years. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now.
So, to get this right, we first have to completely change how we think about what a launch actually is. It is so much more than just a moment on the calendar.
Okay, take a look at this. On the left, you've got the common misconception, right? A launch is a milestone, a date on the wall, a big reveal. We treat it like we're just flipping a switch. But the reality, over on the right, is way more serious. A launch is a commitment.
And what are you committing to exactly? Well, for starters, a launch pretty much cements your initial positioning and the market's first impression of you forever. It also kicks off your first real wave of data, which then creates the learning loops your entire team is going to follow. And the scary part about all this, if you get these things wrong from the jump, trying to reset them later is, well, it's next to impossible. And that leads us right into this really common and, frankly, very dangerous mindset. This whole idea that you can just fix it later. Let's dig into why that is such a trap.
How many times have you heard this? Maybe you've even said it yourself. Oh, we'll learn so much faster once we're out there. We'll iterate. We'll fix it post-launch. It sounds so optimistic, so agile. But really, it's often just an excuse for rushing.
Because what actually happens is the complete opposite. When you launch too early, you pollute your feedback with all this noise from the wrong people. You end up attracting the wrong buyers who give you totally misleading signals. This turns out metrics that look like something's happening, but you can't trust any of them. And the worst part? It creates false negatives. You might kill a great idea just because you showed it to the wrong audience at the wrong time.
And this right here is the absolute key. You don't learn faster, you learn incorrectly. And trust me, making big decisions based on bad data is so much worse than having no data at all.
Okay, so how do you know if you're about to walk right into this trap? We're going to cover 4 super clear signals that are basically screaming at you to delay your launch. And just to be clear, these aren't just opinions, these are patterns that we see play out over and over again.
All right, the very first signal to watch out for, this one is a biggie, and it's all about who's doing most of the talking in your meetings.
You're still explaining the problem. Think about it. If pretty much every sales call or demo has to start with you teaching the prospect that a problem even exists, you are not ready. Your prospects need to show up already feeling the pain, not getting a lecture about it.
Because here's the golden rule. A launch is a megaphone. It scales existing awareness of a problem. It does not, and it absolutely cannot, create that awareness from thin air. That's a totally different job for an earlier stage.
Next up, signal number 2. This red flag is all about the clarity and the punch of your message. Your value proposition depends on a heavy narrative. What does that mean? It means if your product's value only clicks after a long, winding story, a 20-slide deck, or some super complex demo, you're still figuring things out. The value just isn't sharp enough yet. And the danger here is huge. When you launch with a fuzzy value prop, you're not testing a message. You are literally freezing that confusion right into your market positioning. That confusing story becomes who you are, and man, that is so hard to change.
Okay, moving on to our third signal. This one is all about your sales process and whether it feels like you're constantly pushing a boulder up a steep hill.
Your sales motion feels forced, not like it's naturally emerging. You need to pay really close attention to how you're closing deals right now. If every single win requires some founder heroics, a special one-off price, or some other huge, unscarable effort, you don't have a repeatable sales motion. You just have a series of custom projects.
So here's the bottom line on this one. A launch is supposed to amplify an existing motion. It's like pouring gasoline on a small, growing fire to make it roar. It can't be used to create the fire from nothing. And the last signal, and maybe the most subtle one, is all about your data. It's that feeling when you're super busy, but you're not actually making any real progress. Your metrics feel active, but they're totally uninformative. This one is sneaky, but so deadly. You see the activity, right? Website visits are up, demos are getting booked, but you have zero real insight. You can't connect what you're doing to the results you're getting. You don't know why things are happening. It's all just noise. And launching into this kind of situation is a total disaster. Why? Because early go-to-market metrics are famous for lying to you, especially when you have no clear baseline and no idea what's causing what. A launch was just dump more noise on top, making it impossible to find the real signal. So if you're seeing these signals, what do? The answer is not to just push harder and hope for the best. Let's look at the alternative path, choosing restraint over acceleration. First things first, we have to get crystal clear on the huge difference between testing and launching. Just look at this slide. Testing is reversible. It's all about getting controlled feedback from a small group where the consequences are pretty limited. Launching? Whoa, that is not reversible. That's broad exposure that creates noisy signals and a permanent public perception. So many teams fool themselves into thinking they're testing when they're actually just doing a quiet, premature lot.
So instead of launching, you do the real work. And this isn't about waiting, it's about making real progress. Step 1, deepen your discovery until you are absolutely sure the problem awareness is real. Step 2, clarify your value until it's so sharp it's self-evident. Step 3, work on stabilizing that sales motion so it's actually repeatable. And step 4, restore the signal quality in your metrics so you can finally learn something. This is the foundation that a great go-to-market is built on.
And this all brings us to the single most important takeaway. Go-to-market works when the timing is correct, not when your effort is at its maximum. Pushing harder into the wrong conditions will not save you. Often, the most strategic, powerful move you can make is to have the discipline to wait, to do that foundational work, and to launch only when the signals are truly right. So the question you should be asking isn't, are we working hard enough? It's, is it the right time?